Greetings, sports fans. ASMR Sports back with a kind of a new exploration of content. I've been wanting for some time to do, things that require footage from other than, the space directly in front of me. And one of the things I bought kind of at the end of the year when we're trying to cram all of our tax deductible expenses in is some editing software, Final Cut Pro, for those who are interested. So that made me think I gotta go get some footage so I can start editing videos. And I decided to take a trip to the local antique market that is a place where multiple vendors can have, like a little space to sell antiques. And there's quite a variety of different things that get sold at these places, but very frequently there's at least one vendor that has sports cards. So that's, usually what I'm most interested in, but I actually, especially as I've been trying to do different types of content on this channel, I've been really interested in 80s toys and pop culture stuff, so we'll take a look at some of that as well. But here we go in the store, and this first booth that you'll see is just toys, basically. Actually, there's a few baseball cards in there. And there's a lot of G.I. Joes in this one. I was never really into G.I. Joe as a kid, and I don't know too much about kind of the figures and toys and stuff, but I like them just because they're 80s. And I'll give you a close-up at the end of this segment here of one of these G.I. Joes that shows one of these stickers. There it is. So that one I think said from 1985. Oh, that's a Transformer, actually. I thought I did a G.I. Joe, but it's a Transformer. So that one I was a little bit interested in. Next up we have a nice display of old, mostly 80s cassettes that I thought was pretty interesting. Bruce Hornsby has sort of been my favorite artist since I was a kid. Started listening to his first album a couple years after it came out, and got hooked on his stuff. And soundtracks. Here we've got Ruthless People. Have always been very interesting to me. Look at the lineup. We got Billy Joel, Luther Vandross, Mick Jagger, Paul Young, Dan Hartman. So a lot of great 80s artists on this soundtrack for Ruthless People, which I don't even think I've seen that movie, but I've heard that soundtrack. Might have owned it on CD at some point, but it's kind of funny how soundtracks used to be, I think, always loaded with, great artists. Here's I think this is from the 90s, maybe 90 or 91, that Van Halen. Chicago Greatest Hits. Man, long ago I threw away, I think, all my cassettes that I had remaining. And at one point I bought a few more because I had a car that had a cassette deck in the last 5 years, and I thought it'd be fun to play some cassettes on there, but don't have that car anymore, so I got nothing really to play cassettes on. At least I don't think so. Maybe I do somewhere. But here's a Prince Around the World in a Day cassette. There's a Howard Jones, Debbie Gibson. There's a Blast from the Back. I think that's her first album, the one where she got kind of famous. And then her second album, had a few hits on it, but after that she was kind of gone. So there you have it. There's a bunch of cassette tapes there. This is at the same booth, actually. This guy had a bunch of stuff that I was pretty interested in. I want to give you a close-up because the year on these is the only thing indicating what series it might be, but these are all, I think, 86. And the first year of Garbage Pail Kids was 85. I think, like, only Series 1 and maybe Series 2 are from 85, and then the rest are from 86 or 87. I think maybe the last couple series might have been 88. But that was an image that I'd actually sort of, recognized from, I don't know what, but there's some 78 Topps baseball cards in here. I really don't think there was anything that didn't completely suck in here, but I thought I would go through it a little bit so you guys can see what kind of stuff was in here. Those squirt cards are kind of fun too. Then there was a bunch of old magazines, and I have to say I really like the idea of old magazines. These happen to all be like Mustang or car-related magazines, which aren't terribly interesting to me. I never really was into cars, and I don't know, there's not like a lot of, I think, interesting ads in those kinds of magazines. But over here next to those car magazines, we have some other kinds of kind of pop culture stuff that I did find more interesting, and actually ended up picking up 2 magazines from this pile that I'll probably feature on future videos. A few soap opera magazines that I was not interested in, but those were funny little slices of the 80s, I thought. If I was into, soap operas, I'm sure I would find those interesting. Then there were a couple of People magazines. This one was from 96. I thought it might have been like from 91 or something, but it was 96, which doesn't strike me as very interesting. That was not too long ago for some of us older folks. But this one, however, is from 1983, and it's got MJ on the cover, so I think I took a second look at this because the price sticker indicated it was on sale. So, I think it was like, how much was this one? $2 or something. It was had a sale thing on it. There's like some Maxim from modern times, and then there was a handful of old computer magazines, and I had actually seen these before when I went to this same booth a couple months ago, and thought they seemed pretty interesting, but didn't buy any. This one is that computer magazine right there was from like 81 or something. This one was from like 85 or maybe 89, but it was a bit later. So I ended up getting that one that said Apple, along with the Michael Jackson, but nothing else in here seemed very interesting to me. So next booth. So this one has a ton of sports cards that didn't seem like horribly overpriced. Some of the booths in this place, which we'll see later, are pretty horribly overpriced, but this one was like, they have $1 packs and $2 packs, and of course these packs are worth like 30 cents. But as you'll see elsewhere, some places are happy to try to charge you like $5 for those junk packs. So I would consider these guys quite a bit more reasonable. A lot of single cards. A few boxes. I thought I'd see the price on that Dick Tracy, $30 for that box. It's probably like a $15-$20 box, so not too crazy, but nothing I would probably buy. I don't see a price on that Score Football, but that's a very cheap common box. That's actually not too bad to open because it's got a lot of Hall of Famers in it. I think this is the same guy probably with the comic books and old video games. There's a 88 RBI Baseball Nintendo cartridge. I probably played that back in the day. Some old Star Wars figures, some of which I think I have, in opened format. Some G.I. Joes. some background music going on that I hope is not going to give me a copyright strike. I'm going to probably turn that down quite a bit so you can barely even detect it. But yeah, I wish there was no music playing, even though I did quite like the 80s tunes they were blasting while I was in there. So anyways, this is a giant experiment. So here we are, yeah, a bunch of DS games, older, wow, Sega CD, that certainly is bringing back the memories of the 94, 95, 96 kind of era of video games. And then a bunch of TMNT stuff. I'm not really familiar with TMNT, toys and collectibles, but I know there's a number of collectors of those out there. And then I think this is probably a different booth, a different owner of the booth. Over here, some cool 80s toys. This big, I think that's a G.I. Joe. Let's see, Silverhawks vehicle Mirage. I don't know what that means, but big vehicle. Then a few kind of blocks of cards and a sweet, looks like maybe Empire Strikes Back lunchbox, and a kind of this was sort of a republished G.I. Joe, 2023, but it's supposed to look like the old toys, and then some also like kind of newer G.I. Joe stuff rather than the vintage in here as well. That Transformers collector case is pretty cool. And then yeah, just a lot of kind of miscellaneous toys, some of which are pretty new, and none of which seem particularly interested to me. I would love to have seen some like more Transformer stuff, a lot of G.I. Joe stuff in the toy booths at this place. That doesn't appeal to me particularly, but I saw this thing. It's actually a reprint of a Sears Roebuck catalog. I think it was from like 1989, maybe. No, it was like, I think I'm going to show the copyright notice here in a sec, but I was trying to figure out when it was from. I think it was from 1970. I was right off. So yeah, they made reprints of the old Sears Roebuck catalogs from 1900. I thought it'd be interesting to see those. Sometimes you'll see the original catalogs in places like this that I don't think are terribly valuable, but probably have some value, especially if they're from 1900. You probably see more like ones from maybe the 50s or 60s or something. But yeah, folks, this was the Amazon of its day, the Sears Roebuck catalog. Alright, next up we have just a few comic books. These are really the only comic books in the place that were sort of not behind glass. And they're all pretty kind of low dollar ones. I thought about maybe trying to pick one of these up for $2 and taking a look, but I don't know. I decided I would take a pass. I think I can get those old sort of Archie comics for like $1 a piece at the comic book store. And yeah, these old Western magazines. Nothing too interesting in here, but yeah, some of these magazines are pretty old, like from the 60s, 70s. So, kind of cool. Thought I would see what was inside these things, but didn't seem like anything too interesting. Actually, strangely, I'm mostly interested in ads and stuff like that to see what kind of products were, advertised at the time. So now we have another sports card booth that was kind of towards the entrance, which was the last place that I hit. And this is these are the guys I was referring to when I was saying that some of the cards in this place are just wildly overpriced. these singles are, I mean, yeah, they're all over. Oh my god, what is that Glen Rice going for? Let me see. $10 for a near mid 7 Glen Rice. Yeah, that's like a 50-cent card right there, just because it was graded. But I didn't really look, honestly, too seriously at any of these singles. I just assumed they're all overpriced, and they definitely are now that I'm looking at them. In hindsight, but at the bottom of this case, which we're about to hit, you'll see they have some unopened stuff, and I wanted to kind of give you a shot of the prices they're asking for. Actually, those 90 Tops football, $4 isn't too bad. Those Dallas packs, I think, were $5, which isn't too bad. But like $5 for a 89 Bowman pack is pretty nuts. Those are like, $1 a pack, and these stadium clubs are actually worth less than the Bowmans. And those are $5, so kind of pretty overpriced. I always wondered, does anybody buy that stuff? Or does it just sit forever and then they realize it's not going to sell? Or, I don't know, maybe once a month they get somebody to buy a pack for $5. This was kind of cool. Old, open but complete figure there of C-3PO in pieces, which is kind of fun, from Return of the Jedi. So lots of single cards. I just can't believe. I often wonder. I really should look into how much it costs to have a booth here, because these guys have just such garbage, and it's all overpriced. I mean, I don't know if it's just maybe they're selling stuff at those prices, and so that's why they use them. But I can't imagine they are, and I just feel like I could do so much better. But maybe there's just not the volume to sell stuff at reasonable prices. So you just wait for that once in a while, overpriced purchase. So here we have a fun book that I see these a lot at hobby shops that have kind of old books and magazines. But this is one of the Topps, kind of retrospective books that shows all of the cards from 1951 through the time that the book was published, which in this case was 85, and I think they did these, a number of years. I don't know if they did them in the 90s or just the 80s, but I thought I would go and find the Mickey Mantle rookie from a high series in the 52 Topps. There it is. I just passed it. I didn't see it the first time, but I'll go back and find it. And it's right next to the Jackie Robinson, also in the 52 Topps high series. So anyways, it's been a while since I've seen one of these books in the wild, so I thought I'd show you guys inside of it and give you a sense of what it was like. There's 82 Topps. I think they were asking $50 for this book, but I'm pretty sure you can get these on eBay for probably $15. There's a few more overpriced garbage singles. I think they have some commons in there selling for $10. It's kind of crazy, some of this stuff. I mean, I almost just want to have a booth in here to see what if it's actually possible to sell this kind of garbage for overpriced, or I don't know. People, if people really just buy the good deals, and maybe they get snapped up and I'm not seeing them. I don't know. We have some older graded comic books on the top there, and then underneath there's ungraded. There's an old Hulk. Actually, that's like an 80s Hulk. It's not that old. Iron Man's a bit older. And these were, kind of some mystery ones. Not too interested. This one's kind of interesting. Totally trash troll stickers. For $60, you can get this box. I bet if I looked this up on eBay, it's probably $30. But I thought those were pretty interesting. They're basically a knockoff of Garbage Pail Kids. Even though I know trolls are their own thing, but they didn't have cards probably before Garbage Pail Kids. this magazine was kind of interesting to me. It's from all the way back in 1981. It's called Starlog. I think this is, basically, a science fiction, space kind of science fiction fan magazine. And what I thought was really interesting is that they had a record in here, which is kind of nuts. I sort of vaguely remember stuff like this, but I just think, like, how funny is it that you could actually distribute music this way, in a magazine, all the way back in 81, kind of crazy how inventive these magazine publishers were, and crazy how the technology existed for that sort of thing. Back then, I remember in the 90s, I always bought magazines that had like CDs in them. And speaking of the 90s, this Adobe Premiere book kind of brought back a lot of memories. I used to buy a lot of computer instructional books, like software instructions, because I like to know how to use that stuff. And lastly, I thought I'd show you guys some coins. I used to collect coins when I was a kid, and really still like to look at them, but I would never buy anything in a place like this because I'm sure it's wildly overpriced. But still cool to look at. Sometimes I think about collecting coins again, but yeah, I don't know if I have the time or energy for it. But, well, that pretty much does it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the little tour here of the antique market, and I hope to do this kind of thing again. I know we've had a request for like a sports card show video, and I might try to do one of those maybe in the spring, but in the meantime, I'll probably get out to a few other places as well. I do have another kind of set of videos that I recorded at a local Walmart, kind of looking at their cards and their toys and stuff to see if there's anything interesting. And so I'll probably try to get that one done, fairly soon. Alright, everybody, we'll catch y'all next time. Thanks so much for watching. Please do give a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.